Hi there, I'm Amelia, and welcome to my tiny tarot practice. Today's card is the Four of Wands. After our conversation about the Three of Wands as a card inviting you to break your own heart, to make radical change, even if it feels like leaping off a cliff into the unknown, the Four greets us with a celebration. The number 4 evokes a square and the stability of being grounded on 4 sides of a firm foundation. And in the Rider-Waite-Smith version of the tarot, the 4 of Wands features a beautiful sort of bower of 4 wands in the foreground with flowers and greenery strung up between them. And then away in the distance, we see 2 figures who are dressed in robes and waving bunches of greens over their head. They look like they're headed to a celebration, and there are others following behind them. And then in the far distance, there is a walled city. We can see a high wall and spires behind it. And so with this card and this imagery, we see people headed from this enclosed city to an open celebration. We see perhaps what can happen if you take the leap toward the radical change that is calling you. There are different ways that people read this card, but often it's related to a domestic environment, to your home or to your work environment, to where you live your life and do your things each day. And as such, there's a real thread of like belonging and stability here. This isn't, a wild party. This isn't the moon. This isn't that like rawness. It's a 4. It's a beautiful, the stability of fire, the warmth of a hearth, the celebration and being around ourselves and those we love, and celebrating spring together. In these 4 poles, I often feel a maypole, that type of celebration of newness and joy. I also love the version of this card from the True Heart Intuitive Tarot that brings the 2 people to the foreground. Instead of having them far away, the 2 figures are in the front and they're holding hands. The 4 of Wands in that deck almost feels like a card of matrimony to me. And it's full of many more lush pinks and even more flowers. Something that Rachel Pollack in 78 Degrees of Wisdom points out is that the figures in the 4 of Wands are dressed very similarly to the 2 figures that we see in the Tower card, falling out of the tower, being thrown from the tower upon its demise, its destruction, maybe is a better word. And I think that's a really interesting connection to make. Rachel Pollack kind of reads it as this idea of what happens if you are too bound to the walled city. If you are too, I would say like stuck in a system or in a way of being, if you're not willing to go beyond, then it will crumble. I mean, inevitably things always crumble. We live lives that are bounded by death and change. But I think in the Four of Wands, we see the beauty of the mundanity of celebration, of the hearth, the warmth and joy of coming together creatively. And yes, maybe those moments we'll eventually get to the tower, things will fall, but that doesn't make those simple joys any less sweet. So for this card, I just invite us all to bask in small celebrations, an invitation to bask in small celebrations. That's what the 4 of Wands feels like to me. Thank you so much for listening to my tiny tarot practice. As always, if you'd like to find any of the books or decks that I mentioned in this episode, just head to the show notes and I've created a really nice little bookshop page for all of my favorite tarot and magical resources. If you make a purchase through that link, I will get a small affiliate payment, and that helps me keep this show going. I'm so grateful to you for listening, and I look forward to more episodes soon. Be well and celebrate.